Hi.
Hello. We are Ash is experiencing technical difficulties. Maybe his Discord rebooted and he forgot to double check to see if it was going out the no, wait, no, not the Discord, the oh, okay. Well then. So Ash's microphone is not going to the stream for some reason. And that's just, I mean, stereotypical Saturday morning kerfufflery of
Let's see,
some
is
of
that
some
better?
kind.
There, that's better. That's better. Okay, it's something stupid that happens with my when I unplug and replug my webcam in. It just decides, it somehow decides that I don't want this microphone on anymore because it is such a smart piece of software. And good lord, my lighting is terrible this morning, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm looking crappy so that Moon looks better by comparison. Not that you need to look better by comparison. I'm going to just keep digging this grave for myself until someone stops me here. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
You can hear a very awful fan, can you? Yeah. Well, I know Funky with his massively high end audio setup would hear that. All right, I'll go take care of that in a minute. I was debating. I was telling them beforehand. I was debating whether or not I should keep the AC on just because we're still in this blasted heat wave in some parts of the world, and my poor family might need. I don't know. I might regret it because they might not be happy with me turning off the AC. But you know what? For the sake of the audio quality of the stream, I'll do that. So I'll be right back.
No, wow, yeah. I mean,
Well then.
his family's gonna kill him later, but it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah. Like before stream, he was talking about this, and I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it." He's like, "Oh, I won't, but my family might get. Yeah, I might regret it, but oh well."
Right. So
Yeah.
yes, heat wave still going on. Global warming. We're all going to die.
Apparently.
If it was an afternoon
Swear.
stream, I wouldn't even consider it. But yeah. So sorry about those tech difficulties. I don't know what was going on with my microphone there, but yeah. So we are welcome to Saturday Morning Legion. So this morning we're going to be reacting to some news stories and some videos from some of the events from this week. Moon's got some live artwork as per usual, and let's see. Looks like today is polar bear in a snowstorm.
Apparently.
Yeah, so far.
So far, yes.
So far, so. I'm excited to see what she comes up with, as always. But how have you guys been doing? I haven't talked to you much this week.
Oh man, I actually had a lovely couple of days where I discovered that the developer Clay of the Don't Starve Together series, they
Yep.
had a Steam bundle sale, and I got Oxygen not included, and I'm having so much fun. Like it's
nice.
a different kind of like strategy-based management game, but like it's really great. Like I'm on this asteroid and I have a printing machine to print duplicates, so like my little settlers are just like little clones or something.
Oh, okay.
And oh my gosh, it's so fun, and they all have different little personalities, different little perks, and like you have the choice, like because every couple of days or every couple of cycles you get to print something new, whether it's like a care package for like seeds or like animals to ranch, do animal husbandry, or you print new duplicates to help fill out your settlement there. And oh my gosh, it's really, really fun. I've been having lots of fun with it. I was talking about it with Keisuke just the other day.
I'm gonna nod and smile and pretend I know what you're talking about. But yeah, cool. I'm glad you're having fun with it. I've never played any of those games, the Don't Starve or the Oxygen Not Included. I watched a couple of videos of them, but yeah, never got it.
I really
myself.
like base management games.
Good. Did you ever try Frostpunk?
Yes.
Apparently.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh yeah. I remember you did.
She plays Frostpunk a lot.
You should.
It's like,
you should.
Like between that and Endzone, Stardew Valley, and like I'm waiting for my alpha key for Coral Island. Yes.
I mean, those are awesome streaming games. Hint. Just dropping hints
Hint.
live in front of everybody. Just saying. Yes.
Thanks, Sword Sister. Yes, I will have lots of fun yelling at my little settlers. Fortunately, I built enough outhouses for them, and I'm trying to figure out how to upgrade them to laboratories.
Ah,
Sounds
wait, you
fancy.
even upgrade the laboratories, eh?
Yes,
And the
yes. I can
bathroom. See how
put plumbing in. I'm still figuring it out.
that's okay. My wife was playing Animal Crossing last night, as she typically does, because I think she has a slight addiction to that game. Not sure if I should be concerned or not, but anyway, they can. She unlocked the standing toilet, aka urinal, to put in her house. I was like, sorry, what is this game? But whatever.
That's pretty funny.
It's I don't know. As I've said,
House design.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
as I've said many, many times, I don't get it, but my family has a blast with it.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. Yeah, let us know in the chat what you've been playing, and we're going to get into, like I said, reacting to some news stories and some videos of some of the events from this week. We had Larian did an event, and most of it was this sort of online live streamed LARPing escape room thing, in which I think
it was basically an escape room,
right?
And the deal was that so as they went through and they kind of discovered things, and time for like decisions came, like guessing as to which, how to like decode something to open a door or to move them to the next room. He would put those up for votes in the chat, and then the chat would vote one way or the other, and then they would make the decision. And they started out with like 12, like 8 or 9, I think it was 10 or 12 adventurers, and it got down to 3.
Oh,
because they kept getting killed off by bad choices. And the first bad choice, Sev completely ignored what the people were saying, and he was like, "Do this," and then the guy died, and everybody's like, "Oh my goodness!" And they're all like, "We were scammed."
we thought our votes meant something, just like.
But he goes, "Oh, I didn't realize. I messed that up. I'm so sorry." So yeah, it was pretty funny overall. I mean, just generally, like it was really hilarious, to be honest. And it was a great ton of fun. If you could like react to it live. The overall news was a little on the light side, but the thing that I want to start with was something that I think he should probably have led with. So this is Major Patch 5. There's Major Patch 6 is coming with a new class and some more story content. This one has a little bit of story content, but not that much. It does have improvements to a whole handful of things. It doesn't have. It's got some changes to the way that melee combat works a little bit. There's more changes to melee combat coming up. I think he should have probably led with that, but yeah. So when are we expecting patch 6? And he says that is going to be coming a lot quicker than all of the previous patches. So we're expecting this one in less than 2 months.
Okay.
My guess is like 5-6 weeks. I think they want 5-6 weeks for that, and then I would think what they want to do is they want to give themselves like a good 2-month window to drop the next patch in around Halloween, because you know how Sev loves just events and things and dressing up. I don't know. I don't even know if they celebrate Halloween over there. But I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure Sev's favorite favorite holiday is Halloween. And I think they want to release a major patch, and I think he wants to have a big event. And yeah, I suspect strongly that's what they're doing. And they'll probably have a bunch more stuff in that patch. So patch 7, I think we'll probably have more stuff in that than the last couple of patches combined. That's just kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. It could be that patch 6 is actually going to be our biggest patch. It's coming with the update for a class. So we're going to get a class. We don't know which one. I'm kind of leaning towards probably Bard or Paladin. And and then he touched on a couple other things. So they are not going to be adding too many more of the companion characters, although there will be more companion characters at launch. There'll be several of them. and we kind of know that it seems to me that he's leaning to have at least one of the one companion character of each class is kind of where I feel that they're going.
Okay.
So overall, we're gonna have a ton of content. He also said that there's new races, but most likely no new races for the beta. We'll be getting all of those once the game goes live. So there'll be a whole slew of new races for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got, I'm just checking my notes here. So we're going to have 12 companion characters. We've got the warlock. We've got we think we know who the bard is. We think we know who the ranger is. We think we might have an idea of who the paladin is. Maybe we're not certain on that. That's still up in the air. Some of the companion characters we believe aren't going to show up until the second act. So that could be one that's kind of like maybe people are not thinking that it might be who we think it is, but then again it might be because the guy seems to have a major role in a lot of the audio files thus far. So, and he's got a couple of like kind of cool scenes. So we'll see. We're not sure. He's kind of a selfish paladin, so that would be kind of a twist. Then we've got the mage, of course. We've got the thief. We've got the cleric. And am I missing anybody? I'm not sure off the top of my head. So there's still a lot more characters to be added to the actual story. Now, the dice system continues to be evolving. Whenever you get a dice action now, oh, sorry, I won't. That's in the video, so you might want to live react to that. So that's all the stuff that's all the stuff essentially the speculation, the kind of like the underside news and all that kind of stuff was not what you would see really here, or would require a little bit of explaining.
Okay.
So that's kind of like outside of what we would get in this video that we're gonna end up watching here. So
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll put that on in just a second. By the way, enjoying some coffee this morning in my Triple S League branded coffee mug, which I mean, I know you're all dying to have.
which is
now.
totally awesome, and everybody should be buying.
Mm-hmm. Link to the merch store in the description below. By the way, please do slam that like button if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. Subscribe, all that good stuff. So, all right. Well, since we're on the Baldur's Gate topic, let's just get into this video here. So, this is community update number 13, breadth and depth. Let's put it on 1080p there. Larian.
Hello everybody, my name is Sven Vinke, I am the director on Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm going to talk you through today all of the cool things that we've added to BG3 in patch 5. So let's get started.
They have pretty impressive
One of the
production
highlights
quality.
for me of patch 5 is the inclusion of what we call the active roll system. How does it work? Well, it's very simple. Whenever there's a check that pops up, you can actually ask your character to cast a spell to aid fate a little bit. So for instance, here you can see me cast guidance, and that's going to give me a 1 to 4 bonus on the roll that I need to do.
Oh,
but
nice.
You could also ask one of the other party members in your vicinity to cast a spell to aid your luck a little bit. And like this, you can stack them, and that can make a very big difference.
So you cast those
To give
before
an
you
example,
roll, and
I
that
was
gives
playing
you
the game,
a
earlier
boost.
today,
Nice, very nice.
And I was accessing the chapel. There's a lockpick check that you can do there, and usually that fails because it has a very high DC number. It has a 20, which you need to match. That's very high. But with the aid of my cleric, Shadowheart, I managed actually to open that door, something that I hadn't managed without cheats in a long time. And so I discovered a completely different way of entering that chapel, and I was very happy to see also that our script
Is
on
it?
the right
Is there an option, or will there be an
and I had a
option to
completely
turn
different
off the
entry
dice
point to
animation?
my adventure. So be sure to try out the active roll when
The
you
dice
download
anima-
patch 5.
not
You're
really.
going
I
to
mean,
find
it's
that it does
fairly
quite a lot of
quick.
good things.
I know some people were saying it. They might not want to watch that every time they have
Next
to do a
up
check.
is actually a pretty big feature, which is
The
back-
checks
When
are
you create
they're
a
not
character in the game,
common.
you get
They're
to
like
pick
once every 5 minutes.
Oh,
And I
okay.
mean that's when you're just moving into an area. there's I've gone an hour or two without seeing one of those. So I think we will have options there are options to kind of tweak it a little bit more. There is a cheat option in the menu to just automatically pass all of them. So it's one of those things that if you don't want it to be an issue, they don't necessarily need it to. This is one of the tools that's going to be really cool in the once the multiplayer the crowd the des- I don't know what you call it. So the tabletop GM experience multiplayer. So the multiplayer map where you're not playing through the campaign, you're playing through a custom story that a person has made for you and is actively like DMing you through a table, a session essentially. You and like this is why I love this game so much. Right now, we are going to have the ability to have 4 players and 1 DM hosting a game. I'm pretty sure at some point there will be a mod or an expansion or an update that will allow you to play with more people. Quite possibly up to 8. I think this is possibly possible. We'll see. Obviously, don't quote me on this. This is just what I've been hearing people talk about excitedly. So if that's the case, then we're going to have the ability to have a large multiplayer experience, essentially a tabletop with a lot of people. And if you're playing it slow, going encounter by encounter, turn by turn by turn, then the DM would have the ability for you to be rolling that like nonstop all the way through. And so that's really cool. I'm really excited for that because that's a good thing. We get to see we get to see the options, and then we get to see the story evolve as we go through. One of my favorite experiences from the tabletop thing was actually a game of Neverwinter Nights, the original, not the MMO, the original one, the one made by BioWare. It was essentially that tabletop experience, but in a multiplayer form that could have up to 108, or sorry, 100, I think it was 160 people per server. That was amazing because I remember just exploring the countryside on my level 1 bard in a new server, and a ghost pops up and has a conversation with me. I didn't know at the time because it was so new that was a DM, and he was custom creating a story that fit with my written bio on my character. He looked at my bio, he saw my story, my player character story, and he started to lead me on a quest that took several days. And
Wow.
by the time I finally finished it, I came out with this ability to do a cursed bard song. So instead of buffing myself and everybody around me, I did AoE damage to everybody around me, all my enemies.
Just the enemies. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a very special item, a very special drop. There was only one on the server, and this was a network server, so there was like 8 servers that held 160 people per server. So there was around 400 or 500 people on these servers at all times. And everybody knew that my character was the one with the cursed bard song. And if you wanted to go on an adventure and you needed a bard that had extra utility, to contact me.
So
that was the funnest thing and the funnest experience I ever had in gaming, because I felt so special and so unique, and it was so awesome. And that's like, I don't think we're going to have the persistent servers, but that is a direction that the story can be created, and this is why I'm so excited for this game, because we can do this with our community members can do this. We can have all kinds of like setup fun. There will eventually be homebrew rules, homebrew classes, homebrew settings. We could have sci-fi settings. We can have anything that the modders are going to be able to put into the game, which is going to be probably quite extensive, is going to be there and available. I can't wait to do a tabletop Star Trek experience on a bridge crew. I mean, that to me is like one of the coolest things that is down the road, right? So I'm so excited for this, and I think that what we're seeing here, what we're mostly seeing through the evolution of these updates, is that they listen to the community. The community brings up an issue, they fix that issue. And we're going to get to more of that as the video goes on here. So that's my pre-ramble. I'm so excited for this.
So this guy, this DM was doing this live, as you
Yes,
were
he was
playing.
doing it live. He would load himself in. Like I couldn't see his DM character, but he would
Right.
spawn characters in for the events or have them pre-set up in an area, and then I would transition to that area. They also had private rooms so that the DMs could teleport you to a room that they had set up, a dungeon that they had set up where other people couldn't interrupt or mess with the system. Then there were some crazies on there. I remember this one person wanted to try and murder me and hide me in a pile of leaves. Um, yeah, that was kind of creepy. It wasn't a PvP server. I looked at him and was like, yo, this is not a PvP server, jackass. I just walked away and you couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
There were PvP servers and some of them were pretty brutal. There was a couple people that they had to ban because they were just too
Some people will.
Still
Some
happy?
people
some
just
people
want
were
to
too
destroy
gung
everybody
ho
else's
for
fun.
doing
Yeah.
things to other people that were not necessarily within the range of, okay-ishness.
You know what?
So
There's, you know, what's popping up now are these hardcore role play servers in games like GTA 5. There's the No Pixel server there, that's fairly popular, and they're popping up in other games. And our friend Jamie Catalyst, who does some work with us, she's been whitelisted for this roleplay server for Red Dead Online. So that's really interesting. I'm curious to see what comes of that. But yeah, those are getting very popular, and there's very strict rules. Like you have to be in character all the time, and you can't just you break the rules, you get booted, kind of thing.
well, and like I said, this is showcasing the future of what I think we're going to see more and more and more of this stuff, and I think that it is a very good thing, right? Like I am very, very excited to see where we go from here, as far as like expanding out, making more stuff, upgrading the components, having the modders come in and address stuff and add more stuff. And yeah, so I'm gung ho for this. This is amazing, and I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't tell.
Yeah. Oh no. What would have given that away? Yeah. So, good morning, Arturo. Welcome. Funky predicts you'll manifest your DM as Q or AQ in the Star Trek one, because of course.
Well, I think that's pretty much legitimate. And you remember the TNG stuff, and I think it was a little bit in some of the other ones, but they would go back in time and they would do the Robin Hood storyline or this stuff. It's like imagine having the ability that you've got some like custom assets created by the community. You have a Star Trek bridge. You have all this stuff. You start in the Star Trek bridge, and then the GM arrives and then transports you all to a medieval thing, and your phasers don't work, and none of your technology works, and then you can be. It's like,
yeah,
there's so much fun to be had in this, and so I'm so excited for this because it's so cool.
Those were some of my least favorite episodes of Star Trek, but anyway, I mean that's neither here nor there. But yeah,
well, I mean,
it's cool in a
the
role play
premise
setting,
was
though.
a good idea. I get what you're saying about that.
Pick a background, so you get
All right,
to be a folk
let's see
hero,
what
for
else this
instance,
video
or a
has to
noble.
say.
Well,
I'm gonna
say
back it
that
up
in the
just a
game
second here.
is actually
So
a
okay,
very
actually just let me explain this one. So he's talking about the background now.
Okay.
So as you play as you're creating your character, you get to pick a background. Those background choices are now going to play into your character and your character's role, and is going to reward you for, you pick a thief because you want your thief rolls, but then you're playing your character like they're a goody two shoe. You can still do that, but you get bonuses if you play the thief.
If you play it in line with your character. Okay.
Exactly.
What if you're a thief that wants to redeem himself, though, and
Then that's
become
within
noble?
the story confines.
To create a character in the game, you get to pick a background, so you get to be a folk hero, for instance, or a noble. Well, say that you pick folk hero, and you do something that a folk hero would do in the game, then the game is going to reward you with an inspiration point or with some experience if you already are at your inspiration cap, which is actually also a new thing. But you're going to find that there's over 100 of these goals that were added in the content of early access for you to discover. And every single time you're going to discover one of them, you're going to see them listed up here in this neat, handy background goal UI that was added to the game.
It rises
Hey, right
from
on.
the stone, hanging in the air in silent offering.
This, you know,
Something that you have been asking us for, and something that we actually were planning for quite some time, is the ability to free Shadowheart in the tutorial. In the past, you couldn't free her, but now you can. You don't have to. It's up to you what you do with it.
oh,
But you
yeah,
can
so
free
that's a
her,
perfect
and
example of
you'll
what you're
notice
talking
that
about.
introduced a
The
whole
community
bunch of
asking for something,
implementations
and
to the story as you'll try out
they implement it in the game.
You're alive.
We also added something that was also a very big community ask, and which took quite some effort to do because we're trying to do it right. It is what we call the point and click system. It's very simple. Whenever you're going to click somewhere, your characters are now going to say something, just like they did in the original games. So, for instance, if I ask Shadowheart to walk somewhere, she'll say this.
I must keep going.
But if I ask her to go into sneak mode, she'll say this.
Unseen as I was taught.
Now, the really cool part about this is that they will change what they say in function of where you are in the story and where you are on their character arcs, depending on what.
Oh my
decisions
goodness,
you
that's
made. For early
Exactly,
access,
and this
That's
is
big.
for each of
You
them,
pause it here.
800
This is what I'm
voice
talking
bars. We're
about.
gonna be
This
recording
is
much more.
this is what sets this system of game development apart from the other systems that we've seen recently. In CDPR, the community was speculating and thinking and talking about things, and a lot of those things that the community was talking about, thinking about, asking about, speculating about weren't not just they weren't added to the game, they were considered a joke amongst the people working. Those plebs, they don't understand how cool it's going to be when we give them blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we didn't really want or ask for any of those. We're not actually interested in any of that stuff. But okay, I guess we're getting what we didn't ask for. By the way, all the things that we did ask for, not even in the game.
Yeah.
Not even there. Not even represented in a small way.
Yeah.
And so this is what sets this apart. There are other companies that do the pay to beta, and those are BS and oftentimes wrong, and you don't get anything good out of it. But that's not what Larian's doing. Larian is continually looking for the most commonly requested stuff, and then they immediately see if that's something that they can change or work on ahead of time. So the camp system. The camp system was being asked for quite a while for it to be this way. They had other ideas for the camp system that they were going to expand out and change and tweak and do all that, do all this. And that, for the most part, was kind of cool. But what was more cool was that the community was asking for this, for the location to change depending on what area of the map that they're in, or where they're going, or what they're doing, or how, in future areas, if you're visiting, we know that you get to Baldur's Gate eventually. Once you're in Baldur's Gate, it didn't make sense for you to keep on teleporting out to the same camp, right? That you were in when you were in the previous chapter in a completely different location. Like, are they
Right.
traveling all the way back to the camp? That doesn't make any sense. Now that you're in Baldur's Gate, when you go to rest, maybe you're in a sewer, maybe you're in a hotel or an inn, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're in
Yeah, it
one
should,
of those
it
rooms.
should reflect where you are, exactly, yeah.
Yes, and exactly. So now that they understood that this was a major ask from the community, they, going forward, all of the iterations and upgrades that they do to the camp system can be reflected on what the community wanted to begin with. Amazing concept for game development.
What,
You
actually...
come up with an idea to do something that the community is asking for, and then you implement it early on in the program, in your game development cycle, so that it reflects what the community actually wants. Why is this not standard for these like big games that are being made and dumped out into the beta for months and months and months, and you, the community, don't actually have any feedback? Or these games that we're promising you the moon and we're going to do this. And this is why I'm afraid for Starfield for this. I'm afraid for a couple other games for this, because they don't interact with the community. Ashes of Creation came out with its alpha yesterday or the day before, and a bunch of popular streamers were getting into it. And I hope and pray that the game the lead, the guy who owns the whole Bang and Cadil there, he was in his GM status, flying around, giving people, gold and items to test various systems. They wanted to see people testing these systems, as they were implemented in the game, so that they could get an idea. I hope he was taking notes. Every time a major streamer was like, "Oh, this is so cool. Can I go over here and do this?" Like, one of them ran up the stairs and they found a bunch of wood blocking the way, and he's like, "Can I break this?" I hope he and his team were taking notes. Oh, hey, can we look into see if we can allow them to break through this wood? Because if they can break through this wood, that's something that they would go, "Oh my God, that's so cool." That's the whole reason for game development.
Right.
It's like, "Oh, can I go here and do this?" Well, no, we didn't think about adding that, and we think your idea is kind of stupid, so we're totally gonna ignore you, because why would we want to make you entertained with the game that you're playing? Right? It's like, that's kind of the system that a lot of developers have, but Sev doesn't have that. They go out, they find the most requested thing, the most popular idea, the most popular concept, and then they act upon it, and then they improve upon that with their previous ideas of how to improve upon that. They go out of their way to make that even better. And that's why this system done by Larian is, I think, going to work so well, because they actually have this down to a fine art, and they're actually interested in listening to people talk about ideas. This is not something you get from a bunch of studios out there, because they're too stupid to be able to do this.
Well, yeah, and this is supposed to be the whole point of early access, right? But so many for so many early access is just basically a paid
nailing
demo.
it out of the park.
Yeah, like, this is amazing. This is really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what else. By the way, there's this. Is this part of their studio? It must be a room in their studio. Or
This
something.
is the studio. Yeah,
'Cause,
they're in this building.
It's a really
Yeah, it looks like the room
really-
that they were doing that big like feasty thing in before.
Oh yeah.
Where they had the big
They
table
live
with
in
all the stuff.
so they work in a really, really cool building in the city that they live in. Which it's totally escaping me right now. But no, this is so cool. Like, this is so cool. The way
It's
that
a very it's got a lot of class and culture. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, a lot of character to it. It's not
Character.
just like,
That's the word. Yeah. It's not like just a
Like room.
boring modern office. But anyway.
This is the meeting room, guys. Need to keep focused.
By popular demand, we split up the jump and disengage. This was in the past jumping equal disengaging. Now we have a separate disengage action, and jump it's its own thing. And this is popular demand also from community. You can now break concentration. There's a little icon there that you can click on whenever a character is concentrated if you want to break their concentration. If you're a pacifist player, you don't necessarily need to kill everybody anymore. You can just toggle the non-lethal attacks. If you then start smacking them, you're going to knock them unconscious. So you can still rob them blind.
So this is just a one button you push to say only non-lethal?
Minicams is
Yes.
super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yep.
Minicams is
So
essentially the feature
that
when you go to
again,
sleep somewhere, the
it's
background
a
settings-
system that is on its way to being like iterated more upon. This is obviously just the first aspect of it. Right now, it is basically just when you knock somebody out, their body stays there. They're in a permanent knocked out status. They're not bleeding, and they haven't been like exploded or anything like that.
Right.
So obviously, this is kind of what some people might call a poor man's, pacifist system. You're not able to like tie them up or transport them somewhere or interact with them. But this is also just the first iteration of this system. And as we are seeing with all of these other systems, they are iterating more and more upon them later and later into the game. And we'll see, because they have this heat mapping, because they have the ability to get so much feedback on this, they're going to be able to see how many people are choosing the non-violent method. Are people choosing to activate it in some areas versus other areas? for some mobs versus other mobs, like, are there people out there who won't kill elves, but they'll kill everything else, but they refuse to kill elves? And then what's the reason for that? Are they, are they a slaver who's looking to capture all the elves, or are they an elf who refuses to kill their own kind? Like, that is something that this heat mapping will be able to shed a little bit of light on, and will be able to help them make more decisions going down the road for deepening the interaction between this system and mechanic and the other systems in the mechanics in the game. And then again, this adds a wonderful feature for the multiplayer when a group of players playing through a GM experience can choose to, ransack ransack a location, but to do so non-lethally if they're, say, looking for information or something like that. So cool. So cool. So much here for expansion, and I'm so excited.
It amazes me what the studio is doing and what they're pulling off, and how they're able to change things. And I mean, you think about all of the different interacting systems that they've got going in this game. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing. Plus, then they have time to make those LARPing things. Like, how do they do all this?
Yeah, it definitely looks like a fun place to work. And
it does.
They seem to value communication, which I really appreciate.
Well, I think from what I've heard talking to a handful of people that work at the studio, from what I believe the general concept is that, they do their shift, they work for 8 to 10 hours or whatever they're doing. And then instead of going home and playing by themselves or doing nothing, they literally stick around and play with other people. And there's constant games of D&D, of other tabletop stuff going there constantly, and it's so much more of an actual family. Like, it's very much a family, more so than anything else, I think.
So it kind of feels like, they're gamers making games for gamers.
Yeah, which is a novel and crazy concept, the likes that EA wouldn't have the first bloody clue in figuring out how to do. Because I mean, I'm of course I'm biting on EA because it's EA, and I'm being a little facetious, but the point still stands that they are not doing things the way that you'd think they would.
Ted Flagg says...
So it's different.
Ted Flagg says, I was going to play it again, but I'm going to wait for this update.
Yeah, this update
Druid plus this update should be really fun. Yeah.
This update's coming out in 3 days.
Nice.
3 days this update
Very
drops.
nice. Yeah, so check it out.
Of your camp is going to match the place where you go to sleep.
Oh, this is the camp thing you were talking about.
When you go to sleep, you were always in the wilderness, always with a forest background. Well, no more, because if you now go to sleep into the Underdark, you're going to be in the Underdark. If you go to sleep into the chapel, you're going to be in the chapel. You go to sleep in the cavern, guess what? You're going to be in the cavern.
Guess what?
Fantastic. It really adds a lot to the immersion of your adventure.
Sven
is... It took a lot of work because you had to modify all
I mean, he's got so much charisma. He really, really adds to the community communications.
You're channeling the weave.
Speaking of camp again, there's a couple of extra cinematics that you'll find in camp. Definitely check out Scratch and the Owlbear. If you ever figure out how you can get and the dog and the Owlbear cub into your camp, it's possible, then you're going to have a very adorable scene as Baldur's Gate 3 continues to improve its pet simulating skills. We've added a new feature that we want to try out during early access, and it's called Camp Resources. So what it means, if you
I'm really excited for this too.
You're going to be asked what you want to eat. And if you eat sufficient, you're going to have a very fruitful rest, and you're going to restore all of your spell slots and all of your HP if you are, for instance, a wizard. However, if you don't have enough supplies, you will have what we call a shallow rest, and you're not going to be able to restore everything. The reason we did it is because we want to differentiate stronger between short rest and long rest. And so we're very curious to see how it's going to play for you. So do let us know what you think of our camp supplies system. It definitely adds a lot to finding food in the world. And,
I was going to say that adds to that adds another layer of needing to hunt for food.
I had so much food. I never used potions in combat because I had so much food. I had so much high quality food. Now I get to reserve the food for the camp to get a buff or to make sure, and it just honestly, to me, I really like this system because it makes everything feel more immersive.
Mhm.
I was playing that new War Tales game, and they had a camp system where it's like your morale, your special abilities, and your state of health is dependent on whether or not your people had a good food, had enough food, and then whether or not they had great food on top of that. So there's great food that you can use that really makes everybody happy, or you can just cook a bunch of wolf carcasses, with all the mangled blood and hair because you chop those wolves up, and it's just kind of like, I mean, it's just food, right? Like it's like at least we're not starving to death. Or conversely, you can also eat people if you get really really hungry.
Yeah.
That in that War Tales thing, I found that way more immersive. I really liked that system. There was a reason to hold on to special food. There was a reason to hold on to wine bottles. There was a reason to hold on to this kind of stuff. And again, this is a thing that a lot of people were asking for. And for the most part, I believe this will be fairly optional. If you hate that kind of system, you aren't going to necessarily be forced to do it.
Mm-hmm. Dark Infinity, or the early access is just the first act.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to answer Atomic Stew's question, would you recommend getting this now or holding off till full release? I mean, that it depends. Do you want to be part of
Full release is going to be sometime late next year, if not 2023. I believe they want to be doing this next year. I believe that their internal release date is probably going to be early summer next year. So, little working on it for a little over a year, but I don't know how much they're going to be delayed. Larian Studios has had a number of horrendous delays that are not their fault. Their building got flooded twice. In both cases, it was like a freak weather storm that caused the flooding, that killed their servers, that killed a lot of data. And this is one of the reasons why the previous game announcement, their expansion to DOS, was delayed, because as I understand, a lot of the work that they had been working on got destroyed when they got flooded. Now, insurance paid for their lost time, but what they don't get back from that is the actual resources that they were trying to make the expansion with. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, do we continue to make that, or do we move on to our next project? And they chose to move on to the next project. Uh, so again, I wouldn't cross my fingers for an earlier release than normal, but I would also tell you that if you're a fan of this type of game, of the tabletop experience, and if you're looking to play some multiplayer, that's all in here right now. Yes, the story is somewhat limited, and yes, the level cap is 4, but you can change a lot of that stuff with a handful of mods that are available in the modding community already. Already, there's mods that expand on the leveling process all the way up to level 20 and give you abilities and classes and stuff like that. Now, it's not fully fleshed out, but it's there if you want to kind of like experiment with it. You can easily hit like level 5 or 6. Actually, I think you can almost hit level 7 in the content that they have already available. But Sev also mentioned that one of the most common requests is to allow the XP level to go up to 5. And so that's something that I can't remember if he mentioned it here or on the other stream, that's what people were constantly asking, and that they are thinking about it, and they may very well activate it. This game was never designed to be a story that was told at the peak level, at the peak, level 20. That's a as far as the world of D&D, that's a god tier level. Most adventurers never even get close to getting there. So that it's kind of ridiculous that in your games you're always playing at this god tier level. I don't think that's right, but I do want that expansion to be there. So I like playing at lower levels, but I do want the ability to like flesh out my build and have my perfect character, and have that character take on the later events of the game. I think that's cool. I want that to happen, but I also don't. I also understand why they want to like suppress that level a little bit. So those are the only downsides in my mind, that and you're going to be replaying Act 1 more than a few times if you get it now. If you don't like the concept of that, then don't get it right now, because that's probably the like all of that other stuff included. That's all like side dishes. The main dish on whether or not you should be getting it now for this coming thing is that we're going to be having at least, I believe their plan right now is to do 10 major patches. So that means we're on 5 right now. It means we're halfway there. Now, the 10 may or may not necessarily be like fully actualized, and they have had a lot of other patches that just aren't as big, that they don't do big events for. So while they're calling this patch 5, I believe they've had about 13 updates to the game as of right now. So a lot of the smaller updates sort of fix, game crashing, causing, massive problems, that kind of stuff. And that's what they fixed with the smaller patches. But these major patches actually add new content to the game, new features to the game, new stuff to the game. If you want to have your voice be heard, get involved, get on the forums, throw out your ideas, find other people who find that like those ideas, or support other people's ideas, and that way they'll support your idea, and then that will get the devs to look at it and decide whether or not that's a system that can be done. And we've seen that with the camp system. We've seen that with actually a dozen systems now in the game have been improved because of player feedback, and that's the important thing. So if you're more interested in that, do that. If you really can't stand the idea of playing through Act 1 more than once, then don't do that. But I would say that this is a game that is designed to be played over and over and over again, because you have, not only do you have 12 classes, you have all the races. And when you're playing as a drow entering a human populated area, and you're playing as an evil drow, that experience is going to be completely different than when you're playing a good aligned character who's like druid, who's there to help, right? That is completely a different experience. And every single class and race combination has moments where those things play into the story, whether it's in conversation or whether it's access into certain areas or befriending certain people that you wouldn't normally be able to befriend. Those things are immediate right there. And those things are big, expansive, major changing stories, major changing events to the story that you're playing. So if you're playing through as a rogue who's just the worst person you can meet, and you're literally you're playing an evil gnomish rogue who goes around killing everybody, you're going to have a completely different story experience than if you play through as the nice character, or even as a character who's just in it for money versus a character who's in it to help their deity, whatever deity you happen to be following. It's like all of that stuff is available for you to role play in there. Yes, a lot of the combat situations are the same. So again, that's that trump card of whether or not you want to replay it or what. So that's the experience that you're looking at there.
All right, I think that sums it up really well. All right, let's finish out this video here.
The growing upkeep of your ever-increasing camp in the game. So very curious to see what you're going to do with that.
And we'll fill your front with arrows. Or you turn around and your backside gets the same treatment.
A strange symbol glows, marked on their flesh, and something within you stirs in response.
And there is a lot more. Now, I'm not going to go through the list of everything. There's just too much. But I do want to share a story with you of how this patch changed my own gameplay experience. And I was really happy with what I saw. So I already mentioned to you that using my active role, I actually managed to open that chapel door, something which I hadn't done in a long time. So I went inside, and as I went inside, I had some traps to deal with, and I had a little fight that I need to do. And then I went to sleep. And as I went to sleep, I had enough supplies, so I ate my supplies. And I was super happy to see that I was actually standing inside of the chapel as I went to sleep, rather than being in that wilderness. It just felt right. And then when I walked outside of the chapel, and I surprised those bandits that are there, something that you usually don't see, because typically you would go from the other side and just meet the bandits in their normal default script setting. They reacted to it. I saw a scene that I hadn't seen in a long time. There was a guy yelling at me, "Hey, somebody's coming out of the crypt!" And I was feeling like, hey, this is how it should be. It's a small thing, but it was important to me. So I wanted to share it with you, because this is essentially the incremental nature of development. Things are starting to come together, and as they're starting to come together, we can start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of development where the game.
Yeah, those little details really is
hopefully somewhere
where
in
so much of it,
22.
so much of your gameplay
That's
experience
it
comes
for me
from.
today.
What on earth?
Haha! I can read your mind. I know what you are thinking. Where the hell is he? Why is he wearing a different shirt? Why did his face change? Did his hair change? Well, as it turns out, we forgot to record the outro tutorial update. And that's why we decided to record a new one here at the Ravenstein in Ghent as we are preparing for Panel from Hell number 3. Before I go and I say goodbye, I wanted to let you know also we are already hard at work on patch 6, so that's going to be coming faster than you think. And of course, we're also hard at work on finishing the entire game. That's going to take a little bit longer, but it is going to come eventually. And when it's going to come, it's going to be, I think, pretty good. All right, thank you very much for watching.
Goodness.
Take care, everybody. Until next time. Bye bye.
It still blows my mind what they are trying to accomplish here and what they are able to pull off. And plus, then, you know, the fact that they have time to do all of this community engagement stuff and these high production value live streams and events, it's pretty crazy. I don't know what this. We got Frodo with a D&D dice here. We've got. It's mind-boggling how much content is on YouTube. All right. So that's the Baldur's Gate 3 update. So was there anything else you want to say? Not that I think we were lacking for things to say there. You're obviously very excited about this game, Saib. You went on for a long time.
I am really excited for this game. I think this game is what we have been waiting for as far as like tabletop / the RPG players. Right now, as a side note to another like culturally relevant event that is currently going on right now, there's a lot of discussion being had about the nature of the multiplayer experience when it comes to RPGs. And as you can kind of figure, the most common form of multiplayer RPG system is the MMO. And there's been a lot of commentary being made by people who are, you know, big stars in the realm of online MMOs, and they've been saying things like, you know, WoW is not an RPG first and foremost. It's an MMO first and foremost, and then it's followed by being a light RPG. There are other, and in order to actually have an RPG experience, you have to install a ton of mods. But when you're looking at other games like Final Fantasy MMO, it's an RPG that is also an MMO. So it is an RPG first, mostly interested in telling a story and connecting your personal choices and the story that you're playing through to you, the player, and that's going out through that direction. And so it is an RPG MMO instead of an MMO RPG. And in what we're getting here is we're getting a game that is also going to be a massive multiplayer game, just not all on the same servers, obviously, but it is going to be a massive experience that a lot of people can partake in, and then you'll be able to play with literally anybody that you want to. And so in that format, it is an MMO because you can say, hey, I want to play with my friend Joey who lives in Germany, and he's got a friend in, you know, 2 other places, and we can all get to a table and experience a game. That is going to be in the system, and that is going to be there as a primary product of what they are working on. So there's been a lot of kind of this discussion going around, and there's been some developers joining in the conversation of what makes a game an actual RPG, what makes a game an interactive experience. I've been talking with one game developer somewhat publicly, who's making a very large game, and he has been working on this for a very, very long time. And I think what we're seeing is the growth and direction of the experience that we're seeing. This discussion on what the experience that people want to have is starting to flourish, and that is a good conversation to have. And just with the stories that you're pulling up here, Witcher versus Cyberpunk, most people looked at the Cyberpunk and said it was not an RPG like I was expecting The Witcher to like I was expecting after having played The Witcher.
Mhm.
And I hope that CDPR has paid attention to this because their action story game that they tried to do flopped because of its missing RPG elements. People want more RPG elements in games. They want more story. They want more complexity. They don't want your biggest decision in a video game to be whether you're using the SMG 650 or the shotgun.
Right.
Those are not RPG choices. Those are stupid FPS choices that sure can be there, but when you make that your primary RPG mechanic, which I mean they didn't. Again, I'm being a little facetious, but that is a level of stupidity in game development that you think somebody would have been able to go, hold on a minute here. I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. And if they had had an early access, they would have figured that stuff out, possibly. I don't know. Like I said, early access is one of those stupid things where it's like you may or may not discover that.
We did get an early access for Cyberpunk. I mean, we're still in it.
Yeah, it's
Let's
right.
put it that way.
Lol.
Yes. So sorry. Yeah. So Cyb could see the stories I was looking at here. I'll pull them up on the screen here. So Cyberpunk 2077 advertising a new update that doesn't seem to exist. This from I don't know where it shows me the author here. Anyway, this is from Forbes. So anyway, there's been this video ad campaign on YouTube, etc., advertising, biggest update ever. Basically seems to simply be all the bug fixes and technical stability fixes. And, oh, yeah, it's back on the PlayStation Store, although it's funny. There's a big warning on the PlayStation Store that says, don't try to run this game on your PS4.
Oh. What?
Yeah, it actually recommends against you buying it if you're on PS4, on the PlayStation Store. This is Sony saying that, so that tells you that it's in a bad state still. So, in my view here, it doesn't have the tweet, but anyway, whatever. This isn't that important. So we'll anyway, basically, CD Projekt Red is saying now that they're satisfied with where the game is at technically. So I don't know. I'm not sure where actual players are at with that, but we'll see where they go next. Are they actually going to improve the game now? That'll be interesting. I was thinking about doing a live react to the Season 2 trailer for The Witcher, but Netflix will absolutely ding us for that, so I decided against it. But The Witcher 3 is getting new DLC based on the Netflix show, in addition to the next-gen update that's coming. So, to CDPR's credit, we're getting more Witcher content. Now, is it just going to be a few costumes, or is it going to be like a new story expansion?
I think that, well, I hope that they fix the issues that they had in the game, obviously. I think they are. I don't think they're going to cut and run. I think that they know how bad form that would be. I think they know how their players would revolt, absolutely, or would just not be interested in engaging in their future content. But the fact that they're going back to do more Witcher 3 stuff is kind of showcasing how much they think they messed up. And I hope that they plan on fixing those issues and listening to actual feedback instead of sitting there going, oh no, we know exactly what you want. It's like, well, no, apparently you don't, because everything that everybody told you was a bad idea, you doubled down on. So, yeah. Like, I can't get over how much they listen to the people saying, the game looks good, but the shooting looks like it's not very good. Oh dear. All these stupid game journalists telling them this over and over and over and over again. And they're like, oh no, guys, we've got to do better system on that. And so what do? They invest so much time and resource to improving the shooting, but never once did somebody say, hey, are RPG mechanics up to stuff? oh no, we don't want RPG mechanics because of
Well, I don't think it's
movie
the
stars.
fact that they focused on improving the shooting mechanics. I don't think
I don't know.
took away
That
from the
seemed
RPG.
to be the most attention that they paid to
well,
on all of
sure,
their early reviews.
But by that point, they'd already made the decision that this is going to be, an action, like
No,
what do
I
they call
don't
it?
think
An
they
action
did, because
story
that
game.
was those negative things talking about the gunplay came in hard and heavy in the early, like, we're talking like almost 2 years before the game came out. That first showcase that they did.
Yes, but they had already
first showcase that they did kind of like that really nailed down, I think, what they were wanting or expecting to create as far as like interactable content.
But they had already brought on Keanu Reeves at that point. Like they'd already nailed down the direction they were going to go. It was this linear story.
Look, guys,
rather
we got
than
a big star and this crazy story about this big star. But what about my story?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, maybe you're right, but I feel like they had already set their course at that point.
And I feel that they listened to too many of the professional people in the industry telling them what they thought they wanted to hear, and not enough listening to the actual players or listening to the actual like depths, because I had those arguments with the devs constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time I talked to a dev, I would be saying, I feel that you guys are missing out on this and this and this, and this is all of the stuff that everybody else ended up agreeing with me on. So I mean, like, and I got some pretty like harsh criticism from our own fans when I raged on some of this stuff for too long, and yet it was a problem that was way deeper than even I knew at the time. Like, I didn't realize how much of an issue it was going to be. So
don't blame John Wick or he'll come for you, says Atomic. Yeah, I don't blame Keanu Reeves at all for any of this.
No.
I don't even think that they shouldn't have brought him in as Johnny Silverhand, but that just became the linear story thread, and the open world RPG aspect of it suffered as a result of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't blame Keanu for it. He did a good job with what he was given, and I don't blame him for wanting to be a part of it either. All right.
Mm-hmm.
In Mass Effect modding news, if you are dying for sexier Hanar, you now have that option. The things people come up with, man.
Right.
So there's that. Also, you now have full control over how much butt you want to see in the game. It's funny. So the modder has added back in the butt shots that were removed in the Legendary Edition for Mass Effect.
And you know what's funny about that story in particular?
Is that he's the same guy that took them out in the old version?
Yeah. So in the original release of the game, he took them out because he thought they were gratuitous, and there were people complaining, and he was like, well, I can fix that. And now he has fixed that again, back to the other way. And so my respect for this guy has gone through the roof, because what he's doing is he's offering the thing that I wish so many games would offer, and that is the offer of choice.
Choice? What is that?
Right?
Anyway, I had some stories here. We've got more videos to get to, so I'm just gonna. I don't know how deep we want to get into these. Death Stranding director's cut adds cargo catapults and racing. So interesting. Anyway, I wanted to check this out. This Fallout mod aims to be the galaxy's greatest Star Wars game. So I want to check this out here now. Can I get it? Will it actually play at 1080? Oh, it will. Okay. Hopefully this doesn't have any copyrighted music, but let's take a look at this. Oh, I have the tab muted. Hold on.
Yeah.
Unmute the tab. There we go.
I'm pretty sure that music's gonna be, so you might want to just turn down that music. Also, really loud.
This is
like I would just kill the music. I don't think that's important. The what we're seeing is this is what you get with the creation engine. You get the ability to create. And this is why I've never been on the bandwagon for wanting or believing that we shouldn't have that Bethesda should get rid of their engine. Their engine is one of the strongest engines in the game. It's just, or in the industry. It's just not at the level that it can be right now when you're looking at like something like Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
That was a rancor.
Obviously, it's outdated.
Yeah. So which Fallout game is this a mod for? 4?
Well, didn't you just say?
The headline just said Fallout. Oh, we got walkers in the distance. That's cool.
Well, I mean, I would surmise that if this is a mod in the Fallout game, then it would be modded from Fallout 4.
My guess would be Fallout 4 or New Vegas, but this looks like Fallout 4. I'll read the article in a minute. So this is impressive. The amount of work that's gone into this.
I suspect that a lot of it is common assets. I don't think they invented all these assets themselves. They may have, and kudos to them if they did.
Still,
but see, that's those animations.
Yeah, the animations are very clunky, but it is Star Wars. Like,
well, no, I mean the animations that's Fallout rig sets.
Yeah.
This is a Fallout 4 rig set. So I mean I'm almost positive it's Fallout 4.
Sure.
Otherwise they took Fallout 3 and they injected a bunch of like elements from Fallout 4 into it. So
unless yeah, that's my thought as well, Atomic, is like, is Disney going to allow this?
Well, they can't stop modding.
I mean,
like people have won those cases. You can't stop somebody creating custom assets.
Yeah, this is just a fan project. As long as they're not trying to profit from it, as long as they're not selling it, it should be okay. Yeah.
Now, if Disney was smart, they would look at the success of this game and they'd say, what are they doing right? And the answer to that would be, gee, I don't know. Maybe they're actually making things that people want. Idiots.
Fallout 76. Okay. Blow my mind. That's
no.
That's what it says here. An ambitious modding team is trying to turn Fallout 76 into a grand multi-planet space opera.
I think they're misunderstanding that. I wouldn't be surprised if the amount of times that journalists don't know what they're talking about is like, I mean, you'd have to be replicating their live service setup, and I don't think they have. I don't know if they're capable of doing that. I might be misunderstanding that, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that it's probably what they're doing is they're taking certain they're taking the base Fallout 4 game and they're modding it extensively with tech from both Fallout 76 and their own production stuff. That's kind of what I would say, because a mod to Fallout 4 means that you're modding, a mod to Fallout 76 means that you're modding the Fallout 76 experience. And again, I don't want to call people idiots, but that would be the most idiotic thing I've heard today, because that would mean that in order to play this mod, you would have to be running and playing Fallout 76. And again, I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure that somebody just doesn't understand how modding works because they're idiots. I'm just again, I don't want to call somebody an idiot,
but just did.
I'm pretty sure somebody's a bloody idiot here. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
It doesn't even it doesn't actually it doesn't say anywhere on here which Fallout.
Again, like they might be using
the comment says it's a Fallout Vegas mod. Okay, well, we don't know which game
it could be Fallout Vegas as well. There is like there's been a lot more time, but I'm sure that they must be interjecting some assets from the next Fallout games into it, specifically the animation rigs, because the animation rigging is a whole hell of a lot easier to do in Fallout 4 than it is in Fallout New Vegas. It is very difficult to do in Fallout New Vegas, but it's a lot easier to do in Skyrim and Fallout 4. So I'm just going to say that it's not 76, because again, that would require that in order for you to play this mod, you'd be playing 76. You'd be in the world of 76. It would just look different. And I'm pretty sure that's not what's happening here, because again, that's just stupid. But yeah.
Yeah, nowhere on here does...
I'm sorry, I get so annoyed with these journalists.
Nowhere
reporting
on,
on stuff that have no intelligence to actually report on what they're actually trying to talk about. They can't even get the story straight. It's ridiculous. And this comes on the heel of earlier this week, somebody from a major publication posted a story about a major story that was unraveling. They posted the story an hour and a half after a major update had been made on it that basically like confirmed the story. And this guy comes out and says, well, I don't know if this story is actually what people think it is. I mean, do we even know that this is actually happening? Because I have a sneaking suspicion that this was all created for some purpose of designing and... What do you mean the evidence came out an hour ago? What do you mean I could have done a Google search to figure out if this story was true or not? Oh, dear. I'm an idiot? Oh, well, nuts. Absolute idiots in journalism. I don't understand how they maintain a job. I think it's because when you read a story in the paper, you assume it to be true. And when you read a story in the paper that you have personal knowledge of and you're like, wow, that's a lie. How did these people mess this up so bad? I mean, this is terrible. But then you turn the page and you assume that the next page covering the next story is going to tell you exactly the same thing. Like it's gonna convey that, oh yes, we know what we're talking about, and you're gonna be like, oh okay, well wow, these guys sure know what's happening in Syria, versus like, oh wow, these guys have no idea what's going on with the gas system. Oh okay, well gee, maybe they don't know what they're talking about in any of these fields. I'm just saying. Sorry, rant. I get so annoyed with this. Anyways, next thing.
Yeah.
Deathloop.
Sword Sister earlier was saying that we need a Cybrant supercut. If someone wants to make that, I would definitely post that on the channel. I don't have time to do it myself. It's on the unfortunate, sad thing. All right, so the Deathloop gameplay, official gameplay walkthrough, it says, which is interesting because the game's not out yet. Anyway, new Deathloop content from the Sony State of Play. Let's check it out. Orgy of action-packed violence. Awesome.
Every single person here is out to kill me.
It's fun. I've been cutting short your meaningless rampages for some time. It's totally normal. Death is a typical physiological experience in this place.
I hate to break it to you, but there is nothing normal about this fucking island. Oh, shit! What?
You're gonna give me that attitude?
This is almost making me seasick.
Sunday, which means I already know what's going to happen. Am I supposed to do this every day for the rest of my life? Fuck that! I'm breaking this loop.
I'm Dinga, game director at Arcane Lyon, and I'm here to give you a special look at Deathloop. You are Colt. You're stuck in a time loop on the island of Black Reef where everybody wants you dead. To escape, you have to take out 8 targets known as the Visionaries before the day repeats. Also, one of your targets, Juliana, is in the business of hunting you down.
And this is a multiplayer component if you want. You can have another player playing the assassin that's after you.
But every loop is an opportunity. With every cycle, you will learn more about the visionaries and the secrets of the island by exploring and observing. You will discover their habits and secrets, using that knowledge to progress through the story. Let's jump into a mission several hours into the game to see Colt take on the visionary Alexis the Wolf Dorsey. At this point, you have already learned from a previous loop that Alexis plans to give a speech at his well-guarded masquerade party. Let's use that intel to identify Alexis and take him down.
I was just thinking.
I want to know what the fuck is going on.
Oh, you don't want that. You're looking for purpose.
I'm looking for the fastest way out of this place.
There are rules, Colt, and sometimes people bend the rules, and sometimes they break them.
Blah, 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 blah.
Were you talking when I was talking?
I have top secret information.
Okay, what is it?
I said it was top secret.
Okay, just turn the guy's head 180 degrees. Okay.
I've thought about it.
I like the Dishonored style powers, except more high tech.
By ending this,
So what happens when you break the loop? Seriously, I want your theories.
everything goes back to normal, obviously.
Normal. You have absolutely no fucking idea what will happen.
True, but I know one way to find out.
So the guy's so drunk he didn't notice that a sticky grenade got stuck to him.
Dying isn't the end. Reprise is one of the powers you can unlock. It allows you to die and rewind twice before the loop restarts. You have also seen Carnesis, that allows you to yank enemies around and shift the short-range teleport.
Hey, we killed you!
Oh. So they kill. So you don't rewind everything. You just rewind yourself. Nice.
To keep getting yourself killed.
With that power.
Can you stay still for a second?
So they think you're dead, but then you come back. Nice.
Here's where Colt died. You can absorb your body to regain Residium, a resource that allows you to save your favorite weapons and abilities between loops. Over time, you will build an arsenal of weapons, abilities and upgrades that you can mix and match between missions to suit your playstyle or the needs of a specific task.
So I really like. I like the gameplay, but is it just me, or does the world look a little flat somehow?
Pretty sure that's the
We use the
YouTube.
haptic feedback and the adaptive
could be.
trigger of the
Could be.
Because
PS5
this
DualSense
what you're
controller to
describing
bring an extra
happens a
layer of
lot
immersion
in
to your
game
experience.
trailers on
Every
YouTube,
movement feels different,
and
weapons
I don't
express
see
their
that
personality
same
in
level
the palm of your
of
hand.
stuff happening. Yeah. So I'd say probably just a YouTube thing. Like we know it's a common problem, so.
Clapping with one hand.
Don't stop there. Put them both together. The body count is gonna get high.
So is she always after you, or is it only certain points? I wonder.
Pretty sure she's always at. They already said she's always after you,
There's
so I'm gonna
always
guess
multiple
that
ways
they
to
mean
Right,
she's
but-
always after you.
And we just learned of one. A back entrance to the mansion.
Because he's.
Conversations like
Yeah, I
this
just
happen
wasn't sure
all
if it
over
was
Black
because
Ridge,
she's
and it
talking
often
to him.
pays to stop and listen.
I feel like she has to know where he is. So. His head looked like it was made of bubble gum. I'm guessing it was just a mask. What are these words appearing everywhere?
That alert means your rival, Juliana, has invaded your game.
Ah,
Controlled
okay, there
by
we go.
another player or the AI, she's the real deal. You'll have to be extra vigilant when she's on the hunt.
So that'll change your experience. You know, you do the mission multiple times, but you have this rogue assassin that's after you.
Wow. I didn't know you liked to party.
Ain't my style.
You're all business all the time, aren't you? What is your style exactly?
It bothers me that this person, like on the right on the other side of the door, doesn't didn't hear anything that just took place outside.
Well, they're wearing a big mask. How do you expect people to hear through a big mask?
The wolves play a sick game. Whoever fails to impress the others with their evil deeds goes into the grinder
Oh,
and onto the
jeez.
dinner menu. Let's see if we can rig the outcome.
So, like, people on this island are just killing each other all the time because everything resets at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's... still messed up.
Well, this is what I try to tell people. Time loops are not fun. You end up going crazy.
Could be Alexis.
Well, I think
Could
that's the
also
point
be
of the
another
game.
masked speaker. So let's hear him out and not take the shot.
There were deaths, lawsuits, whatever. Profits far outstretched our small legal fees. We made millions that year. Cheap bastards who died, they could have afforded it if it was important enough.
Arrogant, cruel, no regard for others. Yeah, that's definitely Alexis. And yup, Alexis just dropped an upgrade to the Carnes's power and a hefty dose of Residium. Time to get the hell out of here.
Interesting. Okay. So it's like... I saw, like, kind of the action Hitman aspect of it. Very clearly being played with a controller, too, though.
They always do these with controllers because the animation slide is a lot nicer.
This is PS5, which actually... I don't know. Visuals are not that impressive, actually. And again, that might be the YouTube thing. It might partly be the visual style they're going for. It's sort of this. They're not going for full photorealism. They're going for a bit of a stylized look.
You gonna call me like this all the time, Julie?
Juliana.
I give approximately 0 fucks about what you call yourself.
But you did. Once.
And the guy... Okay, well...
Yeah, it was weird that it went into her eyes there, and I'm wondering if that's part of the, like, if she just gets close enough to you, that's the automatic thing that happens. I don't know. So it's curious thought.
I am absolutely looking forward to this game. I hope it looks better on PC. But as now that it did say beta visuals captured on PS5, but yeah, no, the game, it's an intriguing concept. Will it flesh out properly? Will it be executed well? That remains to be seen. But the concept of it, like the Groundhog Day loop, plus like the mixed with some Dishonored, mixed with a little Hitman, mixed with it's got so much it's got so many things that I like in it. Plus the multiplayer aspect, just being able to the thought of being in it, like, so you invade somebody's game and you try to hunt down the player character while they're trying to complete their game. I mean, that could be really fun, and that just adds a whole new layer of difficulty too if you're the player character. So
I don't know, from the whole Souls game system, it's like you arrive in the other person's game and the other person arrives there and they're like, "Uh-oh, good to meet you, kind sir. We are about to duel." And you, the invader, are like, No, you will duel. I will win." And like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And it's like, "Oh, you do not know the secret of the roly-poly-oly." And then you just start rolling like everywhere. You just roll. roll, 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 roll. And the guy's like, I can't hit you. It's like, yes, because you do not understand the roly-poly-oly. And then when you finally master the roly-poly-oly and you invade their game, you're like, ha, I have mastered the roly-poly-oly. I can roly-poly-oly as much as you can. And then they take out a gigantic bat and they just like hit you across the map because you can't avoid that hit. It's great.
Because they are the master of the roly-poly-oly.
Yeah.
So, we've got Moontag's artwork up on the screen now. So, what do we got here? Person leaning on a fence.
Basically, trying to do some character art for the book, but I'm like, meh at it because I'm like, perspective!
Huh.
Oh, God, perspective!
Interesting. So this is for the Sibes book? So you weren't...
When I said
I
draw
couldn't think of anything to draw.
That's fair. Some days you're just not inspired. That's okay.
Oh, so this isn't for the book? Or did you do something different now?
This is for the book. I'm trying to draw her leaning on a fence. Because cows.
Oh, okay, that. Okay, gotcha.
All right. Next thing we're going to check out here is The Lord of the Rings Gollum. The video is called A Unique Promise, so we'll... Yeah, I'm curious about this one. Somebody had posted on the Discord as well as something they wanted us to cover, so let's check this out.
Hi, I'm Harold Riegler, producer at Daedalic Entertainment, and today I'm happy to reveal some exciting details about our upcoming game, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum has always fascinated us. While being completely essential to the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Gollum's long chase for his precious ring has never been told in detail. Yet his incredible journey from Mordor through Mirkwood to the mines of Moria takes players to places they haven't seen like this before, while setting the stage for events that will ultimately decide the fate of all of Middle-earth. Gollum has pretty much traveled everywhere. He's also pretty much met everyone, and by looking at events from his angle, players will experience Middle-earth through the eyes and twisted mind of one of the most iconic characters of all time. All of that in our very own artistic style. From his time in the slave pits of the Dark Tower to his stay with the Elves of Mirkwood, Gollum will creep, sneak, and trick his way past faithful, detailed environments, some of which have never been seen before in such detail. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic stealth action adventure. It mixes stealth and parkour gameplay and really leverages Daedalic's expertise in crafting engaging stories. Gollum is no traditional hero. He's learned not to take any sides other than his own, and some of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth want him either captive or dead. In the game, you will meet some iconic characters, but also interesting personalities less known to players, but nonetheless essential to the events unfolding. We've been highly faithful to the descriptions in the books, depicting, for instance, the Moth of Sauron, the Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, who is constantly scheming on behalf of his Dark Lord. In the game, we will see his face for the first time, but also Thranduil, King of the Elves of Mirkwood, father
Was that a
of
jab at the
Legolas,
movie?
and last but not least, Gandalf the Wizard. We're all super excited to be working on
Oh,
this
it's a jab at
amazing
the movie. I
project,
think it
and
might
we
be
can't wait to show you more.
just
Stay
like
tuned on
hey, we
social
never showed
media
this before.
at
Oh,
Gollum
let's
Game.
call it a feature.
So the Moth of Sauron in the movie was really, really weird. And I don't really remember the description from the book. It's been so long since I've read it, but I mean, yeah, this looks interesting. It's obviously a long way off. They were showing pre-alpha footage there, but I do like the kind of looks like a.
I mean,
kind of a
they're
Tomb Raider
basically-
style.
It's basically a new Thief game, right? Is essentially what it is.
I guess, yeah. So, I mean, so it's a stealth action game like Thief was. I guess it depends what kind of missions you have. That I think.
mean, I don't suppose he's. I really don't think he's going to be taking on a couple high-level ogres in combat.
No,
but
no,
he might be
I don't
tricking a
think
couple
so.
of them.
It seems like, yeah, you're more likely to, lure them underneath a big chandelier and then drop it on them if you're going to take out enemies, kind of a thing.
I hope that we can get the back and forth conversation that Gollum has with himself. Honestly, that was like one of my favorite bits. It's just like, just like kind of like additional audio as you're like going around clicking and stuff. Like go and explore things and be like, oh yes, we wants to go get that wet milkshake or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Interesting. So this is just a short little one. And then I thought you'd like checking this out. We've got the Hot Wheels Unleashed Track Builder. And you're right. Like, they're making them look like the toys. Even those track parts were, like, they just look like plastic. They look exactly like they should if you're just, playing with
Exactly. Like, it looks like a Hot Wheels game, and the track system looks like something you'd create in your room, and it looks like an experience that you would actually have if you could, like, control the vehicles with your, like, go into your toys and like give them a little bit of life, to be what, to be this. It's like, and I think that is an amazing concept. I really do. And I think that that's such a great concept that I'm excited for what this means for other franchises, because this means that this is people finally like thinking creatively instead of like, well, we're going to make a Hot Wheels car, so what are you supposed to do? Well, let's get EA on the line and see if we can buy their Forza or whatever, not Forza. What's EA's racing game? But that one.
There's a big blank in my head that's labeled "Don't give a shit."
Don't care. Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's that is exactly
what
would happen if they created Hot Wheels in the aspect of, well, we're just going to turn these cars into real cars, and then we're going to drive the real cars to real locations, and we'll call it Hot Wheels. And it's like, no, that's not Hot Wheels. That's just a car racing game, for the love of Pete.
Yeah, no,
like,
a Hot Wheels game should be Hot Wheels. Like, yeah,
exactly.
That's like,
and
saying...
so this, I think, is, like I said, it's fostering that creativity, and that creativity is what I want to see when we get access to these kinds of, like, pieces of your childhood. I want the game to be made from the aspect of what I would have thought the game would have been like when I was playing with Hot Wheels when I was a kid. And this is exactly how I would have pictured it.
All right, awesome. Just a couple more, actually one more from the State of Play. This one just looked kind of interesting. I really don't know much about this game, but it's called Fist. And it has anthropomorphic animals, so everybody loves that.
Lost. Must you go back?
I must go back in order to end all this.
So
it's so hilarious.
This rabbit has this, like, steampunk gigantic fist thing on his back that he punches people with, and apparently can also use as a helicopter. And we've got sexy cat girl.
Yeah.
So it looks like a
I find it so comical. It's hilarious. I think, Moon, this is what Luna would, probably the universe that she would be in.
Yep.
So grumpy and serious all the time.
Just gotta kick butt and take names.
Wow, 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 wow,
Wow, wow.
Came into our bed this morning going, wow, 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 and then plopped herself in between us going, wow, 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 and then walked on my head. Then got upset when I moved her to my chest and said, "You good kitty." She's like, wow, wow,
See,
wow.
Really opinionated.
This is why I prefer dogs. They're not so moody. Our dog it's the same every night, except when she's scared. Actually, we figured out she was having some joint pain. She's pretty old. We figured out she was having some joint pain, and for some reason this was causing her to like nudge us awake in the middle of the night and like try to sleep on our heads. I have no idea why. But anyway, we started giving her medicine for it, and she's been fine. But we know when she's not feeling well, because she literally boops me, like her nose just boops me right in the face at 3 a.m, and then she curls up like on my head. Poor puppy.
Like, I'm sore, help me.
Something's not right, and I don't know what's wrong. Anyway, this game, I don't know. I mean, I like the platforming aspect. I like the sort of steampunk. Like, I like the style of the world.
I do like the platform, yeah.
This steampunk thing. The combat looks really, I don't know. Looks like very arcade fighting game style combat, which is not my favorite type of thing, but I don't know. Could be fun. I just don't know if this is coming to PC or not. It says coming to PS5 and PS4, but I did some digging, and not everything, like, this is the PlayStation channel, so they say it's coming to PlayStation. They don't tell you the other platforms.
Yeah, they don't tell you that, and that's the thing. Like, that's one of the many issues that I have with Sony is like when they have a game coming out and it's coming out for that platform, oftentimes they will not tell you that it's coming for out on other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, view it on the one of the worst ways of them saying it was like a word salad of like view it at the best only on PlayStation, and turns out that it was on like all 3 platforms or 4 platforms.
Yeah, but they
and you're like, wait, how do you get off saying play it only the best or play it the best only on PlayStation? And it's like, well, we think it's the best. And it's like, it's not the best. PC runs it way better because it's not a 10-year-old, I have a PC that's not a 10-year-old piece of garbage. And they're like, oh, no. See, that's our opinion. It's like, your opinion shouldn't be in an ad.
But, I mean, legally they can just claim, oh, we just meant we think it's the best experience on our platform.
Exactly. And so
blah,
it's
blah,
a lot of
blah.
that wordplay. I hate the wordplay because it's so...
Yeah.
So misleading.
It's a little on the misleading side.
One more I wanted to show you and look at myself because I haven't watched it fully, but there's this game coming called Omno, which I discovered it this morning. I just randomly came across it. It's coming out very soon. It's this game by a single indie developer who has some experience working on with some other studios, so some major games, but this was a side project they did. And anyway, let's check this out. So this one looks like it's right up your alley, Moon.
I've seen this before.
Ooh. I would like a Nimbus stick.
It's got a staff that... So this is just the release date trailer. There's some other videos on this channel, though, so let's watch a bit of a longer one. Let's watch this one. So I'm getting kind of a go around the world, solve puzzles kind of vibe, like get through different situations kind of adventure game. Again, not a ton of details here, but obviously you have different kinds of abilities you can collect. Turn your magic staff into a hoverboard. He's riding that thing. That is just a little bit awesome. What is the premise of this game? Like, I'm curious. It looks really nice, but it doesn't show us much about. Oh, it's on Steam now, apparently, and it comes out this month. That was the other thing that another reason I wanted to highlight it. If anyone's interested, it comes out July 29th. Oh, Arturo, yeah, she is. She's doing much better. She's getting old, so she was having some joint pain, but she has some medicine we give her every day, and so she's doing much better. She's still very healthy and in very good spirits. She's got a good, happy life. So, yeah, appreciate the thoughts for her though. Let's see here. A single-player journey of discovery through an ancient world of wonders, created by solo developer Jonas Mankey. What's some more details about this? A game that feels like it's made of things you love, whipped together by a master.
A lot of games coming that are created by smaller and smaller indie studios. And it's really an advancement in a lot of the game creation tech, where you're able to create so much more now than you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is getting to the point where I do hope that there's some, obviously some big major titles that we've been looking forward to for a long time, Elder Scrolls 6, that are, so far away that it's depressing to think that, oh, I'm not going to be playing Elder Scrolls 6 for another 8 years. Ouch. That sucks. 8's probably a little high. 5 to 6 is probably more accurate. But even so, I made this point before. It's like the kid that was named after, the Skyrim's main protagonist. That kid is now old enough, or sorry, not now, but will be old enough to legally work at the studio full time by the time the next game in that iteration comes out. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing when you've got this single studio that was cycling through 2 major IPs, and then they added a third one. I mean,
exactly, right.
if they hadn't started doing Starfield, Elder Scrolls would probably be coming next year instead of Starfield.
And we really, really hope that Starfield is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not. Again, I have personal hope, but I don't have hope that I can translate to an actual, empirical, reliable source.
Omno whisks you away on a journey of discovery through an ancient world of wonders. It's a single-player adventure full of puzzles, secrets, and obstacles to overcome. I wonder if this is coming to the Switch. Probably not. Or at least not right away, I'm guessing. This sounds like a pretty chill game to just play on the couch. But anyway, I'm probably going to check this one out. Omno. Looks really cool. And Funky's saying there's an upcoming game, The Eternal Cylinder, you should check out. All right, I'll just search that up right now. Eternal Cylinder. Eternal Cycle. Okay, it's not on Steam. All right, hang on. I'm going to bring Moon's art back up here for a second, because when I'm just randomly searching on the internet, you never know what's going to come up. The Eternal Cylinder video game. Oh, wow. Well, this looks like a drug trip and a half. An extraordinary adventure into a vibrant alien world coming 2021.
Explore, mutate, be unique.
Is this like a spore type idea?
No, depends on how you iterate the spore idea. I believe that the mutate is you mutating. I don't think it's. I don't think you're mutating a society. I think you're mutating you as the player, individual.
There's a trailer here. Whoa, we just went under that thing's mouth. That was weird. It had teeth down below.
The stars, there is a world teeming with life and beauty. But this world is dominated by a terrible alien force.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've seen this one before.
No No one knows what it is or where it came from. They only know that it cannot be stopped. But sometimes it is the smallest, most unassuming of creatures that manage to find a way forward.
Is this you? Oh, weird.
Yes.
To survive,
Okay.
they must band together.
Yeah, sort of like Lemmings, basically. It's Lemmings RPG, basically.
Mutate.
Interesting.
Adapt. Evolve.
This is how evolution works. Yep. Pop. Pop, I'm something else now.
Mere
Whoa.
seconds.
They do. One fact remains. The eternal cylinder cannot be stopped.
What the hell?
I want to play this.
Is that his leg
This looks
or
so weird. Mutated legs.
So trippy.
Aw, Epic Games Store.
6 toes.
See, that's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I can play like a hyper trippy game like that.
Interesting. That cylinder thing. Is it like just roll across this planet and just kill everything in its path constantly? Like, is that the idea? Or are we going to different planets and it's coming to different planets? Anyway, very weird. Very, it looks interesting. Sadly, it looks like it might be an Epic exclusive. All right, just one other thing I wanted to discuss a little bit. We're going to wrap up right away here. Oh, there's a demo for it. Okay. Is it only on Epic, or is it I didn't see it on Steam there. So Ubisoft has future plans for Assassin's Creed as a live online game service, Assassin's Creed Infinity. First of all, you people need to stop naming your games infinite, eternal, da-da-da.
It's gonna live forever.
Yeah, Halo Infinite, Doom Eternal, all of these. I mean, it's getting confusing. But anyway, Halo. So, whereas previous Assassin's Creed games each unfolded.
So narcissistic.
It really is.
My thing will last forever.
Well, I don't know that it's not saying that the game will last forever. Although in this case, that is what it's implying. But like if it fits, like Doom Eternal, it fits the theme of the game. Anyway, whereas previous Assassin's Creed games each unfolded in specific historical settings, such as ancient Greece or Ptolemaic Egypt, Infinity will contain multiple settings with room to expand to others in the months and years following its debut, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing a project under development. Individual games on the platform might look and feel different, but they will all be connected. So, Assassin's Creed Infinity sets out to create a massive online platform that evolves over time, according to people familiar with its development.
Yeah.
So, details are still in flux. It's years away from release.
Yeah. So basically, this is building up essentially what's going to be a live service.
Yes, and so it's a little troubling.
Just letting you know, this is going to be very live servicey. It's not going to be like Destiny. It's just going to have a lot of features that you will end up spending a lot of extra money on. And that's just the way it's going to be in the future. And we've seen this going from Odyssey to the what was the Egyptian one called?
Origins,
yep. which was such a crock. Like, I mean, I hate to say it. I know they chose it because of like the setting, the particular time setting, but you played a character who was closer to us in our timeline right now than was closer to the actual building of the pyramids.
Yeah. Well,
again, that is so mind-blowing that they were like, oh, we're gonna create something about origins where we're, that cool thing that's, everybody knows in the entire planet, and it's really cool and it's big and everybody wants to go there and see that. Yeah, we're gonna go to that like thousands of years after it was made.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there was it was Cleopatra era, and it was
It's not the origins of anything.
It's the origin of the Assassin's Guild. It wasn't the origins wasn't referring to the origin of Egypt or something like that. It was referring to the origin of the guild, whatever it's called. But it was a cool setting, even if to have a game set earlier in Egypt's history, that might be cool. But like, it was really good. It was really good. I mean, it was very flat open world. It was a typical Ubisoft fare, but the way they brought the history and the culture of ancient Egypt into it, plus then the mixing with the Greek culture at the time. I mean, there's reasons why they chose that setting. That's the story reasons why they chose that setting. But anyway, so yeah, Assassin's Creed. I mean, this almost sounds like it'll be a subscription service, the way they put it, and it'll probably be microtransaction city. So, anyway, that's the report. And that's about all we have for today. So, back to Moon's artwork. So are you still working on the book character?
No, it's Commander now.
Ah, yes. Is this the
Anthropomorphized Commander?
You did a version of this a couple weeks ago too. Is this is a different one though? This is a new one?
It's different. So here's Paimon. Paimon's here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Luna.
Oh yeah. Oh, right. That was Luna, the How Dares, and now you're doing Commander.
Yes.
Nice. Yes. These are the
happier one.
These are Saib and Moon's pets, by the way. Paimon is the puppy, and the two cats, Commander and Luna.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have for you today. I think we'll wrap it up there. We're right at the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Please do slam that like button if you haven't yet, and check out the Discord server. Find the link in the description below. You can find the links to all of the other important stuff as well. And thank you for joining us. Subscribe for tons more content. Any final words, Moon, Saib?
I'll hop into the Discord main call.
Yeah,
for
hop into the Discord.
We'll be doing some stuff. I don't know if we'll be playing a game or anything. We'll see. But yeah, it's extremely hot today. So again,
indeed,
it's so hot. It's like Hansel out here. It's so hot right now.
It's like,
nice.
I feel like I walk into the room and the air feels like soup. That's how hot it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting.
I will be seeing Black Widow later tonight. The wife and I we get to have a date night tonight. It's awesome. And I get to.
You should go see the Tomorrow War. I hear that one's like.
I hear that is really good. I hear that is really good. However, we're very much like we really enjoy.
Although I'm not sure if you want to take your wife to that. I mean, Chris Pratt's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we'll stick to the Scarlett Johansson movie, I guess. No, I'm hearing. I don't know. Like from what I hear, Black Widow's fairly average, but
yeah,
we enjoy watching the Marvel.
I think Black Widow. I think they just missed their opportunity. Like I think they were so late on it, and that's the saddest thing about it. So they were just so behind on getting that movie out. That movie should have been out 4 years ago.
Yes, like maybe before Endgame. Would have been nice, yeah. Especially now, like the character's ultimate fate. But anyway, I'll share what I think of it maybe in the TV movie room later. But if anyone else has seen it, let me know what you think, and I'll read that after I watch it. But yeah, all right. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you again very soon.